Another day, another county. Let's do this. Try and get this too. Oh, I hit one. All right, and there we go. Hey, look at that. Looks like we hit Senator James H. Lane. Who is Senator James Lane? Well, he's one of the first senators from the state of Kansas. Prior to coming to Kansas, he was actually a congressman from the state of Ohio. While being anti-slavery himself and calling slave owners wolves, snakes, and devils, he actually votes in favor of the Kansas-Nebraska Act that would allow Kansas-Nebraska to choose whether or not it would allow slavery, which kind of kicks off the whole Bleeding Kansas debacle that we're going to deal with. And not only does he help, get that passed, he then resigns his seat in Congress and moves to Kansas, along with, I think it was 300 other settlers that was referred to Lane's Army of the North. Dude sounds like a Stark. So, James Lane brings this massive amounts of anti-slavery settlers to Kansas. He gets elected senator, and he is known for just jumping up onto a stump, a rock, or whatever to give fiery speeches denouncing slavery. He would literally hop up and start screaming at people and telling them how long slavery is, and would come in their face and yell at them and tell them they are wrong for wanting slavery and all that fun stuff. I think I heard something. Anyways, as Lane is serving in the United States Senate, he's also a general during the Civil War. In fact, there is one instance of during the First Battle of Bull Run, Confederate soldiers were very close to Washington, D.C. He takes, I think, 30 to 60 men from Kansas with him, and they go and surround the White House in the East Wing, or in the East Room, I think, to protect President Lincoln and what is called his Frontier Guard. Lane is also one of the main targets of Quantrell's raid in Lawrence. Stories go that as Quantrell was leading it, Lane was at home, and he had to escape and hide in a cornfield in his nightshirt to avoid being murdered. Lane was also a man with deep personal problems. He was one of the votes that kind of secured Andrew Johnson not getting impeached after the Civil War, or at least not voting to remove him from office during the Civil War. And he dealt with some mental health crises later on in his life. He was accused of corruption and other things, and unfortunately, he ended his own life about 2 years after the Civil War ends. However, James Lane was a firebrand. He was probably the most prominent anti-slavery politician Kansas had going for it. He was willing to lead men into battle and burn down towns to do it, and that's who Lane County is named after. So, Lane County down. We got a few more to go. Yeah, that map's going to have to come home with me.